Mrs. Shoemaker?
Present.
Mr. Bonner?
Here.
Mrs. Corzine? Mr. Mullins?
Present. The meeting is being streamed live, digitally recorded. Do we have anyone to say the pledge or nope? If everyone would please stand to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have our board agenda in front of us, and there has been a few things taken off of it. We are taking off the chiller replacements. Those bids that came back in, if you happen to read through them, they were all over the place, and we weren't talking apples to apples. So we're going to try to put some specs together, standardize the equipment, and then see what honestly, I think we'll probably get a better price back on that when we do that. So we will try. Because we do need to get them ordered as soon as possible. We're going to try to have a special meeting the week of the 7th of December. So 3 weeks from today or whatever. Or 2 weeks. No, it's 3 weeks, isn't it?
Sounds good.
So we're going to try to have a special meeting then to get that to hopefully we'll have the specs back and bids back, and we'll get that awarded. And by the way, we can get the equipment on order before the cost goes up on it. So other than that, the agenda is the same. I entertain a motion to approve. Moved by Mr. Corzine, second by Mr. Hartmus. Roll.
Mr. Hartman?
Yes.
Shoemaker?
Yes.
Mr. Bonner? Mrs. Corzine? Mr. Mullins?
Yes. So that brings us to visitors and public participation. Would anyone like to address the board this evening? Seeing no one, we'll move on to legislative update. A lot of the legislative update has to do with our board action we're going to take right here. They are debating now a new funding formula. Depending who you talk to, I hear that's a very good chance of passing, and then I hear a no vote may be taken on it. So who knows right now? So it's a pretty good looking plan. It would definitely, as we talked before in our meeting, it would definitely benefit us. And there are also going to be a proposal out this week from the Senate about the Ed Choice vouchers, changes to the Ed Choice vouchers. So here in the next few days, we'll know what's going on with those, which I think will also be beneficial to us. So the board action is a resolution to endorse the Fair School Funding Plan as introduced in the Senate Companion Bill to substitute House Bill 305 and to encourage the 133rd General Assembly to expedite passage of the bill. I would like to make the motion that we approve that.
I second.
Seconded by Mrs. Shoemaker. Roll.
Mrs. Shoemaker?
Yes.
Mr. Bonner?
Yes.
Mrs. Corzine? Mr. Mullins?
Yes.
Mr. Hartman?
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Next up, treasurer's reports and recommendations, 5-year forecast.
Yep, I'm going to start out with that. I have this out there for you. You can just look as we go along. Sorry. Okay. There we go. First thing I'll start with is this is kind of new. We used to do this in October, and they've extended it to November now, which I kind of like it because sometimes we have better numbers in by then, which that helps a little bit with the open enrollment numbers. So I could kind of put that into the forecast because that's such a big thing. So one thing that I did see that I wanted to talk about, there isn't much that changed honestly since May. The only positive was we are receiving almost 400,000 more from workers' comp. And that was a huge, big thing. It's coming in December. So that was a revenue. So instead of overspending 1.4, now it's 1.1, which is great news. Anytime we can get something additional that's not expected, that's really good. I'm going to start out with what I talked about in May of last year was COVID really hit us hard. We lost, the state alone lost $770 million, and we took cuts from the state funding of $300 million. So, one thing that I did see that I wanted to talk about is this is kind of new. We used to do this in October, and they've extended it to November now, which I kind of like it because sometimes we have better numbers in by then. The only positive was we are receiving almost 400,000 more from workers' comp. And that was a huge, big thing. It's coming in December. So that's really good. I'm going to start out with what I talked about in May of last year was COVID really hit us hard. We lost, the state alone lost $770 million, and we took cuts from the state funding of $300 million. So Us alone, it was close to 500,000. And that's really a lot when you're not planning on it. And that just carries over from year to year. Generally, state funding is just like a cost of living, 3%, but that didn't happen. They took away from us, and then this year, they kept us at that lower level. So one good thing about it was I reported that there was a chance that they might decrease it even more. That didn't happen, so that's a positive. Everything really, honestly, was pretty much the same as what I projected in May. The one positive was what he just talked about was Cut Patterson. That's the House Bill 305. It is something positive for the district. It shows, this is the Cadillac too. This may not even if it passes, this may not be our number. So I didn't put it in the forecast because I didn't feel like it was concrete enough for me to do that. So I know it's something we can do in May, but that could help us by $7 million over a 6-year period, which is huge. So it's going to slow down our deficit spending for sure. Is it going to completely take it away? No, but it's going to help. It's going to help some.
That's not in the budget yet.
No, I didn't
No.
put it in. I just didn't feel comfortable with no concrete numbers doing it. I love it. The buzz is out there, but I'm not even sure I'll know that by May, even if it passes. Still finagle around with it.
It'll be the end of May, beginning of June before we know what the number is. Yeah.
May,
Yeah.
Have it in. I might have a little bit into it. No, that's definitely not in here. And then this next is just, I don't know, it's just an overview of the revenue that I just talked about. And you'll see that category in 21, 22, 21, 433,703. That's the additional revenue we got. We got from the workers' comp. You'll see that here. It's right in here. Then the next slide is it's about the expenses, all about expenses. We did reduce our expenses. You can see in that next, if you look at the next page while I'm talking about this, you'll see 747, 484. We did reduce them this year by that much. Most of it was in purchase services, some was in salaries and benefits. So that was a positive that we continued. We didn't do anything different from May than what we planned on in May. So that's a positive.
What did you say most of the savings was in?
It's mostly was purchase services.
Okay.
The Pioneer contract.
Gotcha.
Yeah, right.
That was
Yeah. I do want to note that out in years 23, 24, and 25, I didn't really put much of an increase in salaries. At this point, the way it looks, I can't. I couldn't. I didn't feel good about it. So what I did was 23, I put 1%. 24 and 25, I did a half and a half. I always feel like we need to make sure that there's something in there for salaries and benefits, but I also know how the forecast looks, and I just can't do it. Now,
We'll know more as we get there
come
anyway. So
May-
yeah.
And then come May, and also I work real hard on this year, next year. It's hard to project out when you're in a new biennium budget. It's hard to project that. You just try to go off of, just stay on the path. You just don't do anything extraordinary. But I did take those down to 1 and a half, just to make sure that you guys know. I did not assume that, I assumed wellness money is outside of general fund. At this point, that's
Okay.
what the governor keeps
Okay.
saying, is wellness is going to stay outside. We're going to continue to get that money because that there, we have a lot of salary and benefits out of there. So if that has to come into general fund, I don't have it on my forecast. So at this point in time, though, they're saying wellness is outside the budget and they're going to continue it. So let's hope so.
Went to the general fund, about how much percent would it take up?
I'd say we get almost $1 million wellness dollars. I would say half of that is salary and benefits, 500,000. So that would be put back in general fund. So hopefully this will stick
All right,
around.
I understand, hopefully.
And at this point in time, the governor is saying that yes, it's going to be outside of the formula. It's going to still continue because he's really he's really for this wellness. This is really important to him. And again, the purchase services category, hopefully we can maintain it the way it is with the reductions. And supplies and capital, I've been pretty consistent and just maintained. They're not increasing very much either. And that all reflects on the next page. The 747, 484 is what we've reduced this year, which is great. The next page is cash balance. I always like to, I keep you guys updated on this monthly. You get, it's like the third sheet here, not the second one, the third one. This is something you get. It tells you what our cash balance was this time last year, every single month compared to this time this year. And I actually have them clear back to 13. So when you take a look at that, we're starting with 8.765 on this next page, and we're ending with 7.688 on the left-hand side. That's what's going to happen this year. It's our cash balance is reducing, but we still do have a cash balance. So that's the important piece of it. And I don't, unless, again, hopefully something happens with the new budget. And even if Cup Patterson doesn't come into play, surely we'll get some type of increase.
There's going to be
this
a
year.
bump,
I mean,
yeah.
we have
There's
to.
going to be.
I mean, there's
Yep.
just no way. There's so many schools that's in so
Yep.
much trouble right now. We are just very fortunate that we had a little bit of a cash balance. Then the very last page here, the cash balance sheet, that's the one that I'm always giving you every month showing you how it's decreasing. And then in summary, I knew this was going to be a little small because nothing really changed since May. We just need to maintain budgets and evaluate all the expenditures, use all the grants that we can, which I do. I feel like I maximize and use every single grant that we have. And we just got to hope that the Cup Patterson comes into play, because that will give a little relief to the district. But we're not really, even without the Cup Patterson, we still have a cash balance until 2023, which is important. That's, 2 years out. So we'll have to start thinking about it next year. If we don't see some relief there, what we need to do. That's going to be important. We are overspending, but we did slow it down a little bit this year, I feel. And if Cup Patterson comes into play, I think we're going to be fine for a few, at least out until 25. And that's all we can ask for. And we've been, since I've been here, we haven't went back to levy. I mean, we did for the buildings. We haven't went back. And I hope we don't have to, at least for the next couple years. And if Cup Patterson comes into play, we won't have to even go back for the whole
Right.
until 25.
Right. Okay. Any questions?
Nothing really changed. I mean, it really didn't change much since May, or I would have gave a larger presentation. So that's one good thing.
Well, my hopes are also that, with your, we talked about the new structure that you want to put in place, and there's, of course, there's some debate about positions, et cetera, but my hopes are that with the way it's structured, that we can actually find a lot more savings currently in contracts, currently in the way we're purchasing services, et cetera. And quite frankly, we need to figure out how to find a lot of more savings in our budget that we're spending on things and get that into the classroom, get that money into the classroom where it needs to be. So anything else on this? All right, Debbie, thank you very much. So you want to go ahead?
Yes, I have A through I that needs approval. I put those rural and small town grants, and the broadband grant in their expenditures, just because I'm on the auditor state committee. And that's something that they're going to look for next year, is that the board approved what we planned on paying out of those grants. So that's why I put those in there. And then the others, I think I explained in my board update.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's recommendations. Moved by Mrs. Corzine,
I second.
Second by Mrs. Shoemaker. Roll.
Mrs. Shoemaker?
Yes.
Mr. Bonner?
Yes.
Mrs. Corzine? Mr. Mullins?
Yes.
Mr. Hartman?
Yes.
Anything else? Thank you, Deb. Appreciate it. Ms. Swinehart.
Okay, I'd like to recommend A through C and also point out the retirement of Mr. Steve Maybrier. He's been with the district 29 years. He's an art teacher and kids love him. So that's a big loss for us.
All my lands, yep.
Yep.
Good old Steve. And he's not retiring until the end of the school year?
School year.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of subs, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of subs on there. Hope we can get them to come in.
So from a standpoint, as people get quarantined because of what happens in their families, et cetera, have we been okay on subs so far, more or
No.
less?
No.
No, okay.
Like today at the
That's-
primary, how many were you short today, Joe? Three.
That's small compared to what's happening here lately. I mean,
Yeah.
secondaries are covering rooms, I'm covering rooms, nurses when they get a moment. Some people that are doing, we're all just chipping in.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
But I thought Aaron had interviews or something.
Yeah, we've got 2 teacher subs on here and
Yeah, that's why I was asking, because I
Several aides.
saw 2 teacher subs, yeah.
Yeah.
Several subs of each category, actually. So moved.
Okay. Any questions? I entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Hartmus. I'll second it. Roll.
Mrs. Corzine? Yes. Mr. Mullins?
Yes.
Mr. Hartman?
Yes.
Mrs. Shoemaker?
Yes.
Mr. Bonner?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Discussion informational items. You have anything?
No, other than just, keeping our eyes on COVID and recommendations that'll come out from the governor this week sometime. That's about it. Our numbers aren't horrible.
Yes,
right
I
now.
was going to say our numbers from a student standpoint especially are not bad at all right now.
They're
are
not
they?
bad at all. We have several quarantines in each building, but that's because there's family issues. It's not because they've got it from here.
Right.
And like, between 11 and 14 in each building quarantined. So not many. We're doing pretty well.
Okay, good. Board member comments.
I guess I'll just I have a question, Deb, and I should have asked this sooner. Well, in our maintenance plan, does it specify or does it talk about when we have to do major replacements that it should be
Oh,
value
yeah.
engineered or to develop a set of bid spec sheets?
I just know what the maintenance plan says on what we can spend out of it.
Okay.
What we're allowed to spend. I am positive that when you go out and log into the maintenance plan, which we're supposed to keep up filters and things like that.
Right.
I am positive there's probably something there.
Okay.
I don't know what that is, but
That's fine.
I can give you the login information if you want.
Yeah, I'll get with you on that. I guess if not, though, I would like to ask that we at least look at putting something into that plan that specifies if we're doing a major piece replacement somewhere, that we have it looked at and get a set of bid specs made so that it can be bidded appropriately by each vendor.
Well, I think it's also we talked about during the restructuring conversations about purchasing in general needing
Yeah.
to be completely restructured. I mean,
Yeah.
we do tens of millions of purchases.
Yes.
Services a year. And so, sometimes it gets easy to get into the point that, hey, we need 3 quotes. Well, there's a difference between needing 3 quotes for a $10,000 purchase and spending $500,000.
Yeah.
No, for that $500,000, we need specs, we need a request for proposal. And it's just not as simple as asking vendors, hey, send us a quote. So I think that's going to be, as we move forward with everything,
The new norm.
exactly, to put
If you
together
will.
a new structure in place.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
and it's a little bit different than what, we're used to doing things,
Right.
but we kind of need to step.
But we don't do that very often with this big purchase.
Oh, I know.
They're generally smaller purchases.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
But this was something a little bit different that.
Well, even $50,000 purchases should have, if it's for a product or an offering like that, there should be some specs with an RFP written out for it. So,
Yeah, and I don't know that
Good at
we're,
doing that.
yeah, doing like a formal RFP. We may take quotes. There's a little difference between doing a formal RFP and
right.
just saying, hey, send me a quote.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
But I think
So,
major purchases like that, we need to have
yeah, it needs a new process. Yeah.
something that gives every vendor the information they need to bid on it. And at the same token, to verify what we're asking for is the correct thing.
Is the correct thing. Yeah.
So if we have a professional look at that, because it may or may not have been correct when it was put in to start with. So it just verifies that it was or wasn't and then what needs to be. So that's all I have.
Yeah. And because on these chillers, we need more information. The reality is we're 5-6 years short
Yeah.
of the
at minimum.
lifespan we should be getting on
Minimum
these.
5-6 years, maybe 10.
So that you may be. Yeah, exactly.
All I know is there was a piece that was this QZAB loan that we got,
Yep.
and we don't have that paid off till next year.
Next year.
That's all I can tell you about the whole process, so.
Okay.
Well, something
Very
we
good.
can look at and work through.
Yep.
Just add, Debbie, when Jeff was talking, I thought about this, is that you said there's money approved for the, general maintenance buildings, things like that.
Yeah.
Do we put aside for major improvements also?
Yeah, that's what this 034 fund that I have, it's the $500,000 maintenance.
Mhm.
It's for major things to happen one day.
Hmm.
It's, right now we have, I think, I'm not sure, I think it's 800,000 in there. But we can't really use it just for the little small things like
Right.
filters.
Right.
and some things, right.
All right.
So, because it's not going to be me, it's going to be the next person 10 years down the road.
But we need to protect it as much as we can and spend it as prudently as possible.
And and Bill, from a standpoint, we talked about, I think you were coming in, and Jeff, we talked about the idea of hiring an HVAC person at some point. Well, for this type of equipment, that guy's not going to be cheap. But, we also hear discussions about this, Brunner is down here practically every day working on these things. So how much are we paying?
Yeah.
Definitely do the math.
But then we need to do the math there to see.
Bruner, Limbach,
So-
Smart, somebody is here working on something and we're paying them travel time normally as well. So
Exactly, yeah.
we're wasting 2 hours of pay right off the top because they're traveling normally from Columbus or somewhere.
Yep.
So we need to look at all that.
Okay, so Debbie we'll get with everyone over the next few days as we're going here and try to have a special meeting the week of the 7th or 8th, whenever that is. So,
If I look at their calendars, it'd be the best if there's any way you guys could look and see. Is
I already plugged it in on the 7th, so if that works, hopefully we're good.
that a Monday?
That's a Monday.
that's a
Harbor Day.
Monday.
Is that a bad day, Bill? That's the first Monday of the month, I think.
Or
I
Harbor
say, yeah,
Day.
Tuesdays are better for you. Well, I mean, we can do it early too, at like 4:00 or what, at 4:30.
Whatever works.
Yeah, the 7th. That's fine, yeah.
Do it like
Pearl
4?
Harbor Day.
Oh, it is, yeah.
It
Okay.
is.
Do it early,
Pearl
like
Harbor
4
Day.
o'clock?
That's right, yeah.
Quarter is usually better for
Okay.
me.
Okay, 4
But
o'clock.
I'm not hung up on that either.
Liz,
Okay.
Whatever if I want.
So December the 7th at
4,
4?
Liz, are you good? Okay.
board
Joy?
office.
Joy, at the board office, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. If there's nothing else, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Hartmus,
I second.
second by Mrs. Shoemaker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
5:26.
Thank you.
Wow.